All right, the following is just a quick overview of the PowerPoint presentation that I've sent out here, and I'm just going to see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So just a quick recap again, just want to continue to reiterate the project, account-based selling, segment the target market, create a list of target accounts, identify key contacts as it relates to your products, identify and document the buying process within the accounts, identify the pain, how your products will and how your products will solve the pain. So that's our objective. First campaign, when we look at the market segmentation, we want to focus on operators that have natural gas and condensate. I believe that market will sustain itself. A little less of an impact of the COVID side of things. A lot of interesting pipeline and distribution going on related to those products. So that's a market that we can focus on first. The target accounts, they drill large pads, operate facilities, and production includes gas and condensate. The target, BC, and the fields, Kakwa, Elmworth, Kaybob, Pembina. So those are the fields that have, the best profile that we're looking at. And then target key personnel who work with the operator and who work at the operator and with the operator, includes engineering, fabrication, parts, supplies. So the first market segment, I've got to do BC. I need to finish that one, but we've got the Montney. We'll look at, here's an estimate of who I think are going to be drilling this summer. Based on their drilling habits over the last 4 years. So what years drilled, every year that they drill. So if they drill, they're going to put in some some pads. They're going to put in maybe new facilities, so on and so forth. So this is essentially where Elmworth is, out there just south of Grand Prairie. And then here's a look at New Vista Battery and a New Vista gas plant, just kind of giving a visual of our targets on that side of it. And then here is the production summary of the Elmworth area. And so this is the sum of the gas. So I've been tracking facilities for the last 3 or 4 years, the throughput of the facility from a gas perspective, oil, condensate, water, sulfur, so on and so forth. And then the kind of the facility count. So these are some of the accounts in this area that we're looking at here in the Elmworth area. And so, I'm just kind of using New Vista as one of the target accounts here. So we've got pretty good size amount of gas being processed, lots of condensate being processed. So definitely an interesting company for us to look at. And then greater than 3 wells. So here are the guys that are drilling pads in the area. And so one of the things we note here, like, a company like Shell shows up here, it might overlap because these areas kind of touch each other a little bit, but we could still, Shell's definitely going to be on our target list. So New Vista, lots of pads, Pipestone, Hammerhead, so Paramount. So these are accounts that are, drilling pads in that Elmworth area. So we look at New Vista as an example. So here's our objective. We've got our target area. We've got Elmworth. The New Vista both operates facilities and large well pads. So now we start the process of understanding who the buyers are and what role that they play in the buying decision. So and then we look at the operator itself. I've got kind of 3 contacts that we can look at that are from the AER facility. So we got Derek, Patrick, and we've got another Derek here. I looked at this Derek. He used to work at New Vista, but still would be an excellent person to connect with. See if we can get bend his ear a little bit. A lot of the facility permits, Aztec shows up as the engineering company, and then Midwest Surveys is their survey company. When we look at senior people, we've got Jason there. We want to look at maybe who their business development person is at Aztec. And then here are some of the project managers that show up on the AER facility. So all of those people We want to touch base with, again, our objective. What role do they play in the buying decision as it relates to fabrication, coating, buying decision? Who else is involved in that particular buying decision? When are they using coating? Why are they using coating? What's the drivers behind coating? That's all of our objectives when we're talking to these people. Fabricators, just looked at a couple. NRG, when I look at most of these people's contacts, NRG shows up all the time. West Fab Industries, I did find their coming up a fair amount in the LinkedIn profiles, and I went to their website and they did have a new Vista. So again, we look at it. Here is somebody, Mark is their the head of the sales. We might want to look at who their president is, reach out to them, connect with them on LinkedIn, talk to them about New Vista, talk to them where they've used coding, what is the role, so on and so forth. And then the parts side of it, so our smaller diameter valves, those types of things. Who is it that they're buying product from on a regular basis? And then what role does coating play, and who do they use for coating, so on and so forth. So our objective is to fill this table out the best that we possibly can, but we want to fill it in from a Salesforce perspective. And we'll review that next week on how we can achieve this. And then, so that is our objective. So we just kind of work through the next one. So the Montney, there's our key players at the Kakwa field. There's some of the pads that they're using. Here's some of their production, and I'm going to clean up these slides for you. So again, we look down the field, look down here. Who is it that's got a lot of production? Both of a condensate and of gas. And then, we then go through here, who's the guys building the pads. So, of course, 7 gens. And then, we can look at Jupiter, Strath, so on and so forth. And then work our way through the system on that. And then go through K-Bob. So here, the next slide that we've got to add, and I'll add it, is our table related to contacts. How we're going to go through those particular matrix from a contact perspective, and then just methodically work through these individuals at these accounts. And then we've got Fox Creek, and again, we look at what's their characteristics. So there's a Shell 5-well pad, there's a gas plant. Here are the key areas in K-Bob South and K-Bob. And then again, we look at the production side of it, who's building the large pads, and then we'll put our table in there from a contact perspective on each one of these. And then Pembina, so on and so forth. So that gives you an idea of what we're doing here. We're segmenting the market. We've segmented it into these key fields based on natural gas production and condensate production. We've targeted the accounts based on who are the top guys from a facility and a well pad perspective. And then we work through the process of taking a look at each one of these accounts and doing our matrix on the contacts, and then with the objective to really understanding the buying process and educating the value of IPC. So take a look at this, and then we will review this next week. Thanks.